Hello, guys, and welcome back to League One predictions. Yes, it might be the international break, but we have still got a couple of League One games to predict. And by that, I do literally mean a couple. We've had so many postponements, but what we're going to do today for the League One fans is we are going to predict the two games that right now are going to go ahead this weekend. But on top of that, we will talk all things League One and drag this out a bit and get some Birmingham City conversations and Wrexham conversations, Mansfield conversations. So do tune in. I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful Benjamin Bloom. How are you?
I'm good, mate. What are we leading off with? Birmingham losing or your gargantuan 14-point haul from last week, eh?
Well, let's wrap it all into one, Ben. These are the scores from last week, and I have now cut the gap on Ben down to 1 point. 14-6. Yes, neither of us got Birmingham City's defeat. We'll come on to that in a second. I did get a couple of bob-ons, including a bonus point for Wrexham Northampton. What I love about this, Ben, with the League One predictions, is it is cat and mouse. I might pull ahead, but then you catch me up, and you might pull ahead, and I'm catching you up. So very close.
I'm going to give you your flowers this week, mate. I'll be back. Don't worry. That is very impressive. And the second bonus point of the season for Wrexham's 4-1 win, right? Well played. Well played.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it was a massive win for Wrexham, Ben. And in the same weekend, Birmingham City lost. Should we touch on that a bit? Because Birmingham obviously stay top because they've built up a great lead. But their first defeat of the season, typical, it was a 1-0 Charlton defeat.
Well, shock, horror, because, I mean, we half joke about it, predicting Birmingham to win each and every single week, just because of the sheer kind of power we think they're going to have. But you sit in our seat, it's kind of reasonable to be doing that. And you and I have been kind of joking off the show about, right, when do we drop in the Birmingham defeat? There's got to be one. We're looking for an away trip in the middle of a 3-game week, but it's happened already. And maybe the Birmingham fans can chime in. Maybe they might be a bit pleased that it's done with, and we're not talking about a team going undefeated the entire season, and they can kind of get on with putting together another winning run again.
Yeah, and you were right with what you said last week, Ben, because I said for me to back Birmingham to lose, the circumstances would have to be they're playing a team in great form. But Charlton were not in great form. And you said that's probably how it will happen. Birmingham will have loads of shots, but they won't be able to score and they'll go under when you least expect it. So really was a surprise result.
Sorry, what did you make of Chris Davies' post-match? Was he having a little giggle or a rib or something when he said Charlton have spent a fortune? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I don't know what the Birmingham fans and the Charlton fans, because Nathan Jones went off as well, didn't he? Saying, if you're not going to back me, he waited till he'd had a really good win. But what did you make of the post-match from both managers?
Yeah, I thought it was quite strange. We've just said off camera, a bit like deadpan, the humour, wasn't it, from Chris Davies? Yeah, I don't know if he's being sarcastic. We've got some big personality managers in this division. Like we've obviously touched on Steve Evans and his thoughts on Birmingham City. I don't know. I suppose it was his way of maybe laughing at the situation. I think on the whole, he's got to be chuffed with where Birmingham City are right now. But yeah, I mean, Charlton have spent a bit of money, but no one's even close to what Birmingham City have spent this season. So it's got to be a joke.
What, as in he's ribbing every other manager's post-match that
I think so.
Did?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know what you're thinking. I don't think we'll ever find out. That maybe Chris Davies' mates, who might have a beer with him if football managers ever have an hour off, might know the answer. But we can guess, Matt.
Yes. Now, while we're talking about Birmingham being top, as I say, Wrexham went second. They stayed second with their 4-1 win against Northampton. Mansfield Town are up to third. We will go into a bit more detail on Mansfield later. And you've also got Lincoln City fourth, Wycombe fifth, and Stockport sixth, Ben. I mean, look at this for a playoff lineup. That is a real mix of underdogs, isn't it?
3 promoted League Two teams in the top 6 and 1 in the top 2. We did not expect Mansfield to be in there. Mansfield are on a hell of a run, aren't they? And Lee Gregory's banging the goals in, and they derailed the Steve Bruce train, didn't they? This week by there's so many ways you can go with that gag, can't you? But I think we need to say a big hello to the Mansfield fans in the chat, because they are on fire, Matt.
They absolutely are. And how long can they keep this going? Honestly, it's been incredible.
Five on the bounce. 5 wins in a row.
I think it is.
I've got to say it. I think they've had quite a nice run. I know I always say that on winning streaks. I think, look, apart from Blackpool, Crawley, Northampton, Shrewsbury, Cambridge, but look, they've drawn with Stockport and beaten Blackpool at the end of that run. And 5 wins out of 5 is 5 wins out of 5, Matt.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's any easy games in this division. Even the teams at the bottom are scrapping, which will lead us on to the 2 games we're going to predict, Ben. Let's do them now, and then we're going to come back to talking all things League One after this, and we'll talk about our pre-season predictions and what we've got right so far and what we've got wrong. Guys, I've just remembered I haven't done this. Please take 2 seconds to hit the like button. We'll go for 500 likes, so get involved. I know it's the international break, but your support is appreciated. And as ever, make sure you've subscribed to myself and Benjamin Bloom. There is a subscribe button down below, and there's also a link at the top of the description to subscribe to Benjamin Bloom as well. So please do get involved. We really do appreciate it. So let's get into the 2 predictions, Ben. Crawley Town take on Shrewsbury Town. It's 21st versus 22nd. And with so many of the other teams not playing this week, it feels like a lot of eyes will be on this game, especially if you support a team that's in and around this bottom 4. Now, it is early on into the season. One of them might go on to stay up comfortably come the end of the season, but they've both been struggling. Crawley Town have obviously lost the manager. They did start okay, actually. Shrewsbury Town, on the other hand, I mean, they pulled out the odd result. They did get a 2-2 draw at Bolton last weekend, and they did go 2-0 up. I just think there's been a lack of consistency from either team recently, and it makes it very difficult to predict this. I wonder, with Crawley losing Scott Lindsay, is there maybe a bit more chaos there? But they have the home advantage. I'll let you predict first, Ben. I've set it up for you. Go on.
Yeah, I'm going to back Shrewsbury for the 2 reasons you've mentioned. One is, well, not the main reason, but that's a great result to go to Bolton and get a point when you're in the form that Shrewsbury were in. And we've talked about Cambridge, but with threat level high. Burton's looking pretty threat level high as well. So maybe Shrewsbury are thinking, okay, we're bad, but we're not that bad. We're going to pull the odd result out. But I've been going with the narrative the last couple of weeks that I think Crawley might spiral now. So I will back the away win, and I'll go Crawley 0, Shrewsbury 1.
Interesting. Now, I haven't written down a prediction for these games just yet, so I'm going to have to do it on the spot. I know, unbelievable.
You're like Callum O'Hare.
Yeah, being creative, making it up on the spot. I think I agree with Shrewsbury being my slight favourites. As you've gone for the Shrewsbury win, and we'll try and make this exciting, I'll go different.
Here comes the flip.
I'll go for the draw.
Oh, okay.
I'll go for the draw. I don't know. Could it be a really cagey match? Yeah, let's go for a 1-1. Let's go down the middle. Let's play it relatively safe. I agree. Shrewsbury have shown signs, but I just think that neither of them have been very consistent, to be honest. I think the only thing that could tip it towards Shrewsbury for me is maybe that bit more experience at this level. Always seem to get by. This time around, it does feel like there's a real chance they could be in trouble, but if they win this game, they really close the gap. I think if Crawley win this, they're out of the bottom 4. If Shrewsbury win it, they're level with 20th place. It's just goal difference that might keep them
really
in.
Quickly, Matt. August, Crawley won 3 consecutive games with Scott Lindsay in the league and the EFL Cup. If I work backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games, 7 defeats, 1 draw. They are bang out of form.
They absolutely are. They need a result soon because, like you say, if Shrewsbury beat them, Shrewsbury overtake them. And we had this conversation, I think it was only last week, where we said if you're 24th or 23rd in League One, you know, safety can be a long, long way away. You know, and we've said for Cambridge now, it looks like they're going to have to do something incredible to get out of that bottom 4 anytime soon.
Already. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. There is another game to predict, Ben. It's Peterborough United versus Rotherham United. And before the season, you'd have thought, oh, this is like a top 6 matchup in League One. But they're both in the bottom half. We've got Peterborough, who are 14th, and Rotherham, who are 17th. I suppose a big opportunity for either to get pushing in the right direction with no one else playing this weekend. Oh, this is difficult, Ben. Have a word on it before I give my prediction. I'm not too sure. I mean, Rotherham, they did get the win against Reading last week, didn't they?
They got back-to-back wins, Matt, actually, because they had the one, I think it was against Cambridge in the last minute. Right. So, yeah, they've kind of got moving. I didn't notice that Kwame Poku, I think he's top for both goal contributions and goals, or he's tied up with Lee Gregory as well. So they've got a bit of a hot hand. I don't know, mate. Maybe you go with home advantage slightly, but I'm playing mind games now, aren't I? I'll hand over to you.
Has he forced my hand? Peterborough, yeah, speaking of late goals, they got the late winner against Stevenage at the weekend, 2-1. Oh, gosh, this is difficult, this. I think when there's 2 games as well, you're really trying to play it you're trying to play it as careful as you can. I'm not sure what to think here. As you say, have Rotherham started to put things right? Let's go for them. Let's go for Steve Evans. Peterborough 1, Rotherham 2.
That's interesting. So I am going to flip that based on competition and the audience going to want a winner from this week. So I will back Kwame Poku. We'll get him on the score sheet as well. And Peterborough. So I'm going to flip your 2-1 away win and call a 2-1 home win for the Posh.
2-1 Posh. And there you go. That wraps up our League One predictions.
I did a lot of research on that, Matt.
Guys, do be sure to share your predictions on those 2 games. I know it's only 2 games, but we'll leave the fixtures in the description if you want to copy and paste that nice and easy. We will see how they play out when we come back to do our League One predictions next week. Ben, like I say, let's have a little look at our pre-season League One predictions. It will come as no surprise that when we did our 1 to 24 predictions, we both backed Birmingham to be top. They are currently top, and I presume you wouldn't change that one bit.
No, I think they'll be top, and I think they'll be a big margin. I don't know by when, but you'd imagine a winning run is coming, and be like Usain Bolt in the 100 meters, where you're kind of with him for the first 20 meters and then off he goes into the distance. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't change it. I know they've just lost their last game, but yeah, they've been great so far. The money they've spent as well. I think they were still spending money after we made those predictions, bringing in bringing in the likes of Stansfield. Interesting. We both went for the same top 4 in order. We both had Huddersfield 2nd, Rotherham 3rd, Bolton 4th. Now, they're all a bit off at the moment. Huddersfield are 9th, Bolton are 13th, and Rotherham are 17th. Could you see any of those 3 still being in the top 2 come the end of the season?
That's a good question. Only Huddersfield, possibly. I still got a hankering for Huddersfield. Doesn't look like Rotherham are kind of clicking the way. And with Steve Evans, I think if it's not happening immediately, you're kind of like, because you would expect them just to be winning from the word go. Because, and I mean this with all love, the style of football is not going to take 18 months to coach into the side. It's all about being competitive and winning games, isn't it? Immediately, and we all know what I'm referring to with the way Mr. Evans likes to play. But Bolton have just kind of slid into maybe what might be a transition season. I don't know. Maybe they'll come strong, but I expected Bolton to be fearsome. So what's your take?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think out of any of them, probably Huddersfield is who I'd go with. I think Rotherham certainly still have the potential to get into the playoffs, and I could see them doing it because they've done that before. I think they've won the League One playoffs twice in the last 10 years. They've been promoted from this division probably like 3 or 4 times in the last 10 years.
Was that one of the games Matt, between Rotherham and Shrewsbury, scouting Paul Hurst before he became the Ipswich manager. So I've seen Rotherham win the League One playoffs at Wembley. There you go.
Yeah. That was it. 2018.
It would have been 2018. A couple of interesting ones as well. I think Dean Henderson would have been playing for Shrewsbury, saved a penalty. Carlton Morris was on loan up top from Norwich to Shrewsbury. Got a really bad injury in the game, poor fella. As well, Richard Wood. He'll probably still turn out for Rotherham in 5 years' time, but he scored twice. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, I think that was. I remember that. I think that was the day before the League Two player final, which Coventry had won in 2018. I speaking of Huddersfield, Bolton, and Rotherham, I think Huddersfield, obviously, currently they're the closest to getting back towards the top two. We saw them have a good little run at the start of the season. I like Duff as well. Got the power of being a relegated team, and you think like once they click, they could be quite unstoppable. So I would lean towards Huddersfield out of those three. But honestly, I think it's so open this year. It's crazy how many teams you could actually fit into that top six. I think it does go down to about 15th place or something. Right. Let's have a look at the bottom end of the table, Ben, looking at our League One predictions. Let's start with a clanger. We're both quite far out on this. Mansfield are currently third. Now, I don't think many people predicted that. I predicted them 19th. You predicted them 21st. I presume we're not going to stick with those predictions if we had the chance to change them.
What a start. I mean, they've already got 20 points on the board. So in terms of being 21st, what are you putting that around? I don't know, just high 40s or something. So I think they're definitely going to be ahead of that. But no, Mansfield, take a bow. Absolutely amazing start. Who else did we have in the bottom four then, Matt?
So you had Shrewsbury, who are currently in there. You had Burton, who are currently 23rd, where you predicted them. And you had Crawley, who are also down there.
So it could be worse.
Certainly, yeah. So three of your bottom four are currently in the bottom four, and you had Cambridge in 18th. So that's going to cost me, isn't it? Let's have a look at mine. I had Shrewsbury, Cambridge, Burton, Crawley, which is the bottom four.
Oh, well played. Very impressive. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Don't be changing any of those, mate.
I think I'll settle with that. Let's have a little look at some clangers here. So I think I had Lincoln City mid-table. I had them about 12th. They're currently 4th. Let's have a little Lincoln City discussion, Ben. Always quite solid at this level, but could this be the season they actually do it and get up to the Championship?
Could be, couldn't it? If you go by the theory, I think Wrexham have got staying power, but if I'm looking there at Mansfield, Wycombe, Stockport, Exeter, all in the top 7 at the moment, you know, those three teams we mentioned, you know, sort of Huddersfield, Bolton and Rotherham, that, you know, you would foresee, and I won't name names, but some of the teams I've just mentioned are going to trend into the middle of the table. And I think there will be a chance to, maybe Lincoln and Wycombe have been in there before in the League One playoffs. Wycombe have obviously won them. Maybe that staying power, might override others. But yeah, Lincoln are just incredibly solid. And I guess you were expecting a bit of a regression to the mean and a bit of a crowded top 6. But I think they're there for the duration, aren't they? Based on the first block of games. Absolutely, and I think it's key that they've capitalised on some of the so-called favourites not having great starts, I guess, because like you look at Charlton now out of the top 6, Huddersfield, the Steve Bruce trained Blackpool, Barnsley, you got Bolton. It's actually unbelievable looking down the table how many teams you could consider to be in that discussion. You got Wigan and Reading and Rotherham as well. So, it's who starts fastest leads the race, I guess. And it's certainly Mansfield, Lincoln, Wycombe and Stockport, who've been great. Let's have a little look at some more bob-ons here, Ben. So in total, by the way, we've both got 3 that are bang on right now. We've both got Birmingham top and Burton 23rd. I have Northampton 20th, which is where they currently are. Nice. And you have Blackpool 10th, which is where they currently are. They're going to be higher than that, aren't they?
Let's have a little Blackpool discussion then. So you've currently got them where they are. Obviously, they lost their last game, but they have been going like a train, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they'll be either just in the playoffs or just outside the playoffs. I think they're going to... We joke about the Brucey train, but I do think the momentum's going to carry them for a little while, and that will stand them in really good stead. Whether we're thinking proper new manager bounce and they'll tail off, after the new car smell goes or not, I don't know. But yeah, if I was redoing my predictions now, I'd probably put them higher than 10th.
Yes, possibly. Ben, should we sign this out with a bit of a prediction? We'll have a discussion about the playoff places then. We've said that we'd keep Birmingham City top.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it while it's the international break. Who would we have second right now? Because it is so hard to predict. We just spoke about that Huddersfield could still have that potential to get up there. I would not be surprised, given how Wrexham have been performing, that if they actually went on to do another fairy tale story, but could they run out of legs? I mean, what would your verdict be? You don't have to say a team, but you could give a favourite for second place right now.
Oh, so with Wrexham, I think it depends. I think it depends on those big guns. You're talking Charlton, Huddersfield, even Bolton, Peterborough, those... Someone who can win 10 out of 14 games at some point and, career up towards, the 40 to 60 point mark, depending on where they do it in the season. I think if the door is left open, Wrexham will be the ones. But I can just see, are Wrexham going to be over 80 points by the end of the season? I know they're at 2 points per game now, but there's been a little tail off. And I think someone put it in the chat, didn't they? The amazing numbers Wrexham have done, for the last few years. They're going to need to do it again. And you would bet one of the more powerful teams would be able to usurp them at some point. But Matt, the longer we sit here with Wrexham in there and the door being left open, the more we're going to be saying that is theirs for the taking. But I don't know if we're seeing the whole picture yet at 9 games or 10 indeed for Wrexham.
Ben, yeah, a quick one. Wrexham's next 4 games: Rotherham, Huddersfield, Charlton, Mansfield. Some pretty big games there because, like we say, if Wrexham are currently occupying that place that we thought Huddersfield might, and then they beat them as well in that head-to-head coming up, they put more distance between them. So right now, I think if I was forced to say someone, I might go with Wrexham for second because
it just got to keep the momentum, Matt, haven't they?
Yeah,
long as possible. Yeah,
it's so open. There is countless teams that could just put that run together. But I think one thing we are agreed on is Birmingham City being top. Let's sign out with one last one then, Ben. If you're to choose one team currently out of the top 6 that makes the top 6, and obviously there's plenty there, you probably want to choose more than one, but you can only choose one. Who do you feel most confident gets into that top 6 at the end of the season that's currently out of it?
I don't want to contradict what I said when I said, Huddersfield could still be in the top 2 conversation, but that could go absolutely one of 2 ways, where Mike Duff could completely have fallen out with everyone by December and have to change the management, blah, blah, blah. So I'll say, as you said, top 6, I'll say Charlton, who I think with Nathan Jones will get in there.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm looking at Charlton and Huddersfield there in 8th and 9th, but I also like the Steve Bruce train. Jeez. Do you know what? I'll go a little bit rogue here because I mentioned them earlier. I'll go Rotherham. I think they're gonna get it right. I know Charlton and Huddersfield are the obvious choices, but I'll go with Rotherham because I just can't picture a League One season where Rotherham are not in the top 6. It just doesn't fit right with me. So I will go with them to get a good run going and blast themselves up there. And that will wrap it up for today, guys. Can I say a massive thank you if you've watched us today, because I know there's not many football games to predict, but we're still here to talk some League One football. And a massive thank you to you, Ben, for joining me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. I love it. And I guess we'll be back with a far more full set next week, right?
Yeah, for sure. We've got 12 big games to predict next week. I think we've got 13, actually. I think there's one in midweek next week. So we will be back with more League One predictions next week, and we will see how those two predictions we've done today unfold. As I say, please make sure you've dropped a like on this video. You've subscribed to myself and Benjamin Bloom, where we've also got the Premier League check-in podcast coming out later today. Like I say, Ben, it's the international break, which is not my favourite kind of thing, but there's still plenty of football to talk about, isn't there?
Absolutely. And surely we're going to get someone in the comments who's going to get a double bob on just the two predictions. I want to be shouting out somebody's name to open up next week's show. So get in there now. Very good point. Anyone that predicts both games correctly will get a shout out in the next video, and don't go back and edit the predictions afterwards. We can see you've done that, but like I say, get involved. Thank you once again for your great support. We will see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.